All right, Raiders fans, let's dive into everything happening with our Las Vegas Raiders right now, because there's plenty to unpack and a lot of stories that need a closer look. First, let's talk about Jacoby Myers, because the decisions around him have been making waves across the league. The Raiders reportedly had offers on the table from multiple teams, including the Pittsburgh Steelers, who were offering a 4th and a 6th-round pick, essentially the same package as Jacksonville. But in the end, Jacoby chose Jacksonville, and while there are plenty of theories floating around, my gut tells me it came down to relationships and opportunity. Edgar Bennett, who used to be the Raiders' wide receiver coach, is now with Jacksonville, and that connection clearly played a role. There are also ties with Liam Cohn and John Spytek from their Tampa Bay days, which adds another layer to the decision. Beyond relationships, Jacoby probably looked at the depth chart and saw a real chance to step in as the #1 receiver, especially with Travis Hunter out. In Pittsburgh, that kind of opportunity just wouldn't have been available, and when you combine that with the offensive philosophies and potential fit in Jacksonville, it seems like a natural choice for him. Even though the Raiders could have tried to sway him differently, they ultimately let him make his decision, which speaks to the organization's respect for professionalism, and Jacoby handled the situation the way a true pro should. Switching gears, I want to give a huge shout-out to a college football player who really impressed me over the weekend, Fernando Mendoza from Penn State. I was supposed to be at the game with some old college friends, but even watching from afar, his performance stood out. Penn State faced a tough situation, playing without their top wide receiver, Sarrett, and Mendoza still managed to lead a comeback win. There were moments that weren't pretty, including an interception reminiscent of his previous struggles against Oregon, but he responded with a composed touchdown drive that ultimately secured the victory. That kind of mental toughness is exactly what you want to see in a player who could make a real impact at the next level. Even though Penn State's record might not be ideal, the environment he played in is tough, the defense he faced is talented, and he still managed to perform under pressure. In my eyes, Mendoza is not just a Heisman contender. He could easily be a top pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, and personally, I would love to see him in a Raiders uniform someday. He embodies the kind of grit, focus, and resilience that you want in a player representing this franchise. Speaking of quarterbacks, we still have plenty to discuss. Geno Smith has been a hot topic lately, especially regarding his health and the decisions made by Pete Carroll. There's been a lot of debate about why he hasn't been benched despite struggling and dealing with a quad contusion in a recent Thursday night game. While some argue that the Raiders could have been better off putting Kenny Pickett in, the broader concern is about the coaching approach. Pete Carroll and his staff have shown this season that they prioritize being right over doing what might be best in the moment. A recent example of this was the message he sent to rookies after some costly mistakes, essentially warning them that what happened would not be tolerated forever and implying that veteran players wouldn't face the same scrutiny. That kind of communication can create tension in a locker room, especially when certain coaches, like Chip Kelly, already have mixed relationships with players. It raises questions about consistency and fairness, and whether the team is fostering an environment where every player feels equally accountable. Watching how this dynamic unfolds is crucial because it could either catalyze improvement or create further instability. The leadership decisions here are fascinating, especially when evaluating a team's overall strategy and culture. Now, let's pivot to something uplifting amidst the challenges. The Jackson Powers Johnson family sent a gift that really hit home, and it serves as a reminder of what Raider Nation is all about. The gesture included a card expressing gratitude, along with a signed JPJ jersey, and it reinforced the values that make certain players stand out, not just for their on-field performance, but for their character, mentality, and connection to the team and community. Jackson Powers Johnson exemplifies what it means to be a pillar player, someone you can build around, someone whose dedication and leadership can influence the entire locker room. In a year where the Raiders are 2-7, finding players who embody that resilience and commitment is essential. JPJ's family showing up like that demonstrates the importance of strong support systems and highlights why having players with integrity and heart is crucial for a franchise aiming to establish a lasting culture. This is the kind of mentality that can inspire teammates and cultivate a sense of family and brotherhood within the organization, which is something the Raiders are still working toward. At the same time, it's a good reminder that success in football isn't just about talent on paper. It's about character, preparation, and the willingness to rise to challenges, both individually and as a team. The stories of players like Mendoza, the decisions around Jacoby, and the gestures from families like JPJ's all illustrate that the human element in sports is just as important as XS and OS. Building a franchise, particularly one as storied and passionate as the Raiders, requires balancing talent evaluation, opportunity, leadership, and culture. And while the season might have been rocky so far, moments like these give fans something to hold on to get inspired by, and to believe in. There's a lot of work to be done, but these examples show that the building blocks are present. The challenge is connecting them in a way that translates into wins and sustained success. Meanwhile, the atmosphere around the team remains an interesting mix of anticipation and scrutiny. Fans are watching every decision closely, from how injuries are managed to how leadership communicates expectations to players. The dynamics of the locker room, the coaching philosophy, and the handling of emerging talent are all under the microscope. When you consider how much attention a single quarterback decision or a draft pick can generate, it's clear that every choice resonates far beyond the practice field. It's not just about what happens during games. It's about the culture being set day to day. The Raiders have the talent, the history, and the fan base to thrive, but the alignment of strategy, leadership, and player buy-in will determine whether this season is a turning point or another year of missed opportunities. Keeping an eye on these developments and understanding the reasoning behind each move is crucial for anyone following the team closely. On a personal note, being able to witness the resilience and professionalism of certain players really energizes the fan experience. When you see someone like Mendoza or JPJ approaching challenges with focus and determination, it's a reminder of why fans remain invested, even during difficult stretches. Their stories serve as benchmarks for evaluating other players and the team as a whole. It's also a reflection of the broader football ecosystem, where player development, leadership, and opportunity intersect. Watching these narratives unfold in real time allows fans to engage not just with results, but with the stories and human experiences that define the sport. It's about celebrating victories, learning from struggles, and recognizing moments of excellence and growth wherever they occur. Now, diving deeper into the quarterback situation, it's impossible to ignore how critical this position is for the Raiders moving forward. Geno Smith has been under the microscope for a lot of reasons, and while some may argue that his health issues and inconsistent play could justify a benching, the reality is that the coaching staff has stuck with him, for better or worse. There's a lot to unpack here because it's not just about performance. It's also about the message the team sends to the locker room and to the players themselves. Injuries happen, mistakes happen, and the way leadership responds to these challenges says a lot about the culture being cultivated. Pete Carroll's approach has been both praised and criticized this season. On one hand, he's showing loyalty to a veteran player, but on the other hand, it raises concerns about accountability, especially when rookies or younger players are held to a different standard. The balance between supporting your players and enforcing discipline is delicate, and so far, this season, the Raiders' situation illustrates just how thin that line can be. Fans are watching, analysts are commenting, and the pressure is mounting to see whether sticking with Smith pays off or if it becomes a point of contention that impacts the team's overall performance. While the quarterback debate continues, another narrative that cannot be ignored is the impact of emerging talent. Players like Jackson Powers-Johnson and Fernando Mendoza are shining examples of what it takes to make an impression in a highly competitive environment. Mendoza's resilience at Penn State, leading a comeback under tough circumstances, demonstrates a level of mental toughness that translates directly to professional football. Similarly, JPJ embodies the spirit and mentality that Raider Nation loves to rally around: dedication, leadership, and a clear desire to be a cornerstone for the franchise. These stories remind us that football is not just a game of statistics. It's about leadership, character, and the ability to rise above challenges. When young players show the kind of mindset, it sends a signal to the entire team and can inspire veteran players to elevate their game as well. It's about creating a culture of accountability, resilience, and camaraderie, where talent is nurtured and potential is realized. The Raiders have some pieces in place, but the challenge is tying these threads together to form a cohesive and competitive unit that can win consistently. Off the field, the Raiders are also dealing with the broader dynamics of team culture and relationships within a locker room. Leadership decisions, coaching philosophy, and even the way messages are delivered to players matter as much as what happens on game day. The comments from Pete Carroll about rookie penalties and how veterans are treated differently highlight the complexities of managing a team with diverse personalities and experience levels. Fans are noticing these subtleties, and the narrative around the Raiders' operations this season is evolving. Maintaining transparency, fairness, and a clear standard for all players is essential for long-term success, and the way these challenges are handled can either solidify trust or create division. The Raiders' coaching staff has to navigate these waters carefully, balancing performance expectations with the morale and cohesion of the locker room. Every decision, from which player starts at quarterback to how mistakes are addressed, contributes to the overall atmosphere and impacts performance in ways that are sometimes invisible to the casual observer. Meanwhile, fan engagement continues to be a critical element of the Raiders' identity. Raider Nation is one of the most passionate and loyal fan bases in the league, and moments like receiving a card or a gift from a family like JPJ's remind us of the deep connections that exist beyond the field. These gestures are more than symbolic. They reflect the values of dedication, community, and support that help define what it means to be part of Raider Nation. They also reinforce the importance of having players who understand and respect these values, who carry themselves with integrity, and who are willing to be leaders both on and off the field. In a challenging season, these reminders are vital. They give fans hope, motivation, and reasons to continue supporting the team, even when wins are scarce. The Raiders have the potential to build around these pillars, creating a culture where leadership, talent, and loyalty converge to produce a team that not only competes at a high level, but also embodies the spirit of the franchise. Looking at the broader picture, the decisions around draft picks, trades, and player development all intertwine with team culture to shape the trajectory of the franchise. When you combine the potential of emerging stars like Mendoza and JPJ with the leadership challenges surrounding veterans and coaching strategies, you get a dynamic, sometimes unpredictable environment. Yet, it's precisely this unpredictability that makes following the Raiders so compelling. Every game, every decision, and every gesture, from family supporting players to rookies stepping up in pressure moments, adds a new layer to the narrative. The season may have been tough so far, but these stories of resilience, decision-making, and leadership provide a blueprint for what could become a defining chapter for the team. It's a reminder that football is as much about the human element as it is about athletic skill, and that perseverance, teamwork, and character are often what separate good teams from great ones. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Whispers have been circulating in the NFL world for weeks, but now it seems the dam has finally broken. Maxx Crosby, the fierce edge rusher for the Raiders, reportedly didn't hold back in a recent locker room conversation that insiders are calling nothing short of explosive. Sources suggest Crosby didn't mince words, delivering a brutal assessment of his own team, one that few players would dare to voice publicly. According to those close to the situation, he described the Raiders as a low-level team, a comment that has sent shockwaves through fans and analysts alike. Crosby, known for his relentless work ethic and laser-focused intensity on the field, has long been respected for speaking his mind in interviews. But insiders say this latest outburst went far beyond the usual media soundbites. The veteran pass rusher is allegedly frustrated with what he perceives as a lack of competitiveness and ambition within the organization, and he reportedly doesn't see the kind of culture he believes is necessary to compete at the highest level. Friends within the team claim Crosby's comments were more than just frustration. They were a call to action, a blunt wake-up call aimed at teammates and management alike. While the Raiders have had moments of promise, sources insist Crosby feels the organization has consistently underperformed relative to its talent. He's tired of mediocrity, one source reportedly said, hinting that the star defender is growing weary of carrying the emotional and physical burden of trying to elevate a team that doesn't match his standards. The rumor mill is already spinning, with speculation that this could lead to tension in the locker room or even influence front office decisions. Some analysts suggest that Crosby's candid remarks could embolden other players to speak out, potentially shaking the foundation of the team's internal dynamics. What's certain is that Crosby's reputation as a leader who demands excellence is on full display. Whether the Raiders respond with introspection or defensiveness remains to be seen. But one thing is clear. Maxx Crosby is unafraid to shine a light on uncomfortable truths. And in a league where politeness often trumps honesty, his words might be exactly the spark the Raiders need, or the controversy they didn't see coming. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.